Out of all the Marauder 2 chassis, this one feels the most gimmicky. It's basically just a mech that people stick missiles on and just send it out into the world. It has energy hard points in the arms, but they usually get skipped, and people will pretty much boat one type of missile weapon. So they might do all SRMs, they might do all streaks, all MRMs, and unfortunately sometimes I do see this as an LRM boat as well. Personally, I tend to swap between either this MRM setup or a bunch of streak missiles, and it'll completely change the way the mech plays based on which one of those I decide to use. If I use this setup, then I pretty much just want to see assault and heavy mechs all day long, because they're great big targets, so lots of my missiles will impact on their components. And then if I see a light, I'm kind of screwed, because they're so tiny that they hardly get hit by any of my missiles. But then if I have streaks, it's exactly the other way around. I can kill lights all day, but if I run into an assault, I'm, out of luck. So between the two setups, I kind of prefer this one, just because I don't have to wait to get a lock on someone, and that lock on time can really screw you over on streak missiles. If you have to come around a corner and look at someone and then lock onto them before you can fire, they're usually going to hit you with all their weapons before you've even shot once. That said, I think just overall this might be the one that I play the least. It has almost the same capabilities as the 75-ton Marauder 9M, except, more tonnage and more missile hardpoints. But I think the 9M is probably the better mech out of the two, just because it is smaller, it does have better hitboxes, and it only mounts 2 MRMs instead of 4, but I can always fit lasers on that one. So I've still got good firepower to go with the missiles, which means that I can easily take on lights and such. If I wanted to put lasers on this, I would basically have to give up either heat sinks or ammo, and you really cannot afford to give up ammo when you're shooting up to 120 missiles at a time. The other problem is going to be sort of apparent here, in that since you only have this one weapon system and it's got a relatively slow velocity, you're really limited on longer range engagements. Whereas with the 9M or anything else that's packing energy weapons, you can just go ahead and take some shots at long range targets, just because, at the very worst, you'll have, wasted a little bit of heat, but not any ammo.
We're gonna backbot it in.
So there, I wanted to try and help my ally, but because of the spread of MRMs, I was probably going to do more damage to him than I would have to that light that was harassing him.
Acquired.
Putting missiles on Indigo, thanks for the attack.
New target acquired.
Switching missiles to Charlie.
New target acquired.
Here I'll finally get to move in on some of the enemy mechs, although, as always, they have lots and lots of snipers on that hill, so I have to, expose myself to them for quite a while. Thankfully, they don't really pay too much attention. This mech does not have any survival quirks.
Destroyed.
And so, you can see that they haven't done very much damage to my mech. And that's, again, without any extra HP. No extra armor, no extra structure. Here I got tired of that, I think it was a flea or something, that was running around harassing the assaults. So, I said something in chat, and I just decided to forget about it. Hopefully I was just saying, hopefully they'll go after it so that we don't have to keep wasting time on this guy who's trying to shoot us in the back.
Target spotted.
New target acquired.
Now that was an impressive shot. I just fired 60 missiles at the guy and missed every single one of them. Had I lit a little bit more, I would have at least hit with some of them.
Boss is being captured.
Now, for the most part, this is the type of scenario that you want when you're fighting with this mech. Everything is fairly close range, and I've got lots of immediate cover. So when things get a little too intense, which they will fairly quickly here, then you can kind of back off and cool down a little bit, or let your missiles reload. Cooldown's not bad, and when you have 4 large launchers like this, you can stagger their fire, which is what I have set up for firing group number 6 there. That way, if I'm close to overheating, or if I just need to try to suppress multiple targets or something, I can do that staggered shot.
Target acquired. New target acquired. Heat critical.
This part of the match does show one of the weaknesses of this particular chassis. Since I'm not putting any weapons in the arms, I have to, I have that very limited torso pitch angle. And so I've got these guys who are just right next to me who I can't do all that much to.
Target acquired. New target acquired.
So here my choice would have been to either drop down and be in the canyon with him, or stay up here and again continue to have difficulty actually shooting this person.
Target destroyed.
I was surprised to find out that person actually had a standard engine, because that's pretty much the setup that I run for my Catapult C1,
Acquired.
and I have a light engine. So they've either got a lot less ammo or a much smaller engine, something. I'm not sure what they're running.
Need assistance.
Even though I'm in a very slow 100-tonner, I did decide to go ahead and turn around and see if I could answer that guy's call for assistance. Just because I knew that we had that stealth mech earlier, just annoying everyone.
Target destroyed.
And it turns out I was able to take that guy out.
New target.
But I was thinking it might have still been that same flea from earlier. I was just getting kind of frustrated with it. Here I was really surprised. I fired all 4 launchers at once, and it didn't even strip the armor. It blew off his arm, I think, but that was it. And you can fire all 4 with a pretty minimal ghost heat penalty. You just can't do it too often, so I usually just stagger 2 at a time. So in the end, since I had pretty good engagements and good targets, I did 892 damage and took off 10 components. So, I got 3 kills, which was pretty good, although for that amount of damage, that's a little bit low. But it's just kind of the nature of medium-range missiles. So if you like this, or if you just like missiles in general, I definitely suggest picking this up. It's at least fun to mess around with once in a while.